Honestly, I could go on forever because I am, as you guys are too. That's why I love GOA. Absolutists, right? It's like, well, I think that deer rifles. Like, no, recreational nukes, full stop. Sorry if that offends anybody. No, I'm not sorry. I think that I guess to choose one to gripe that's really grinding my gears is I want the gun community to add more people that are trying to recruit people on the fence. So what we're trying to do is like, look, nobody likes to be preached at, so we try to do everything in a fun way. I call it advertainment, where it's like, again, nobody wants to see a roll of tape. They want to see a styre og floating with, peanut butter and jelly dripping off the barrel or something like that. Oh, by the way, there's some goon tape in it. So we're trying to do that, especially with people that play video games, like first person shooters, and people that play airsoft and paintball, because while many of them might think, well, I would never own a gun, I am I feel good knowing that those people have never had an incident where they didn't have to immediately think, I wish I had a freaking gun. Because I don't know if you have. It's not a great feeling to have of like, oh my God, I'm really happy I have a gun right now. So I'm trying to, we as GoonTape, we're trying to get those people that are on the fence. And it's really hard to do because a lot of the people that are like, they're like, especially like airsofters in maybe like California, for example, huge milsim airsoft environment over there. And they got a ton of people that play that are really into it. But there's also a lot of folks that are like, this is for play and for playing war. And I'm, reducing it a bit. But, I don't see myself ever having like a shotgun or anything like that. And so I want to lead by example with GoonTape and start developing content that grandma is not going to be like, people from a different era, especially, but also like a lot of the youngsters who grew up like with this constant being berated with, horrific mass shooting related images. A lot of the people, when they think of guns, that's what they think about. It's a infinitesimally small percentage of negative incidents compared to life-saving positive incidents, but that doesn't make the news. And so even though man is a rational being for the most part, it's like something's got to feel good, for the most part for a lot of people before they start like getting factual about it. And so the people that play Fortnite and COD and like a lot of these franchises that are like kind of like candy crushing the, like the gun space where it's like, oh, my gun's pink and my gun's purple. I'm not personally into that as like, like I'm playing Modern Warfare 2, bro. Like, it's like that's what I mean, that was what I like to play. But these younger guys, especially, they are more interested, it seems like anyway, to like the kind of like brighter colors kind of stuff. And so I want to do more of our marketing push to get those people to be like, all right, well, I play Fortnite. Oh, that's a cool picture. Kind of reminds me of Fortnite maybe. And then it's like, oh, okay, this is a real gun company. Like they make real guns. And that's, I think, the opportunity to get the conversation started. Well, like, hey, I try to start with situational awareness because growing up in New York, like, dude, I had an issue like not even too long ago, maybe like 2 months ago, where I was house sitting and some dude freaking my car was out front. Some dude, and this is a safe neighborhood, some dude tried to ram the front door. And so I was like, I grabbed my shotgun and I was like, I went to the door, he ran away, got my shotgun, and nothing happened. Thank God. I went to tell the neighbors before I was leaving, just to be like, just so you're aware, this happened. Like I am, a dude that's a little too heavy to carry out of there. I would be fine, but like if you have kids, just be aware. And I can't get over like the look on the neighbors' faces. We're like, did you call the police? And I was like, no, I grabbed my shotgun. They're like, what? Like he just could not believe it. And I'm like, that is so nice that you never have had that experience where you're just like, oh, I'll call the cops. Cops will solve the problem. But the odds of that happening, unfortunately, because of just distance, time, travel, etc., no bueno. So anyway, to get back on track here, apologize, folks. Just my gripe is that we need to do a better job as a community bringing people in, making them see like, okay, you might not need a gun, but you should have situational awareness. You should know what's going on around you, because unless you're literally holding hands with a police officer or he's right next to you, like they will not be able to help you until the bad part is probably almost done. Again, no knock on law enforcement. It's just like anybody, you know, especially now where you get like penalized, you know, for helping people out and stuff, and not to get into that, but you know, so that's my big gripe.
Yeah, I mean, we were a few things like we were on with John Bailey from EOTech early on. It's one of like the first episodes of the podcast, and we were talking about like EOTech is it's very noticeable what an EOTech is. And I was talking to him about like, how's it go at show? He goes, I've got kids who are like, that's my setup in Fortnite or that's my setup in Call of Duty. And I'm like, is that really bringing people in? And it's like, yeah, it's bringing people into the community. You know, video games is a good way. I just did a class with Carrie Sloan from We the Female, and we're talking to her, and there was like 50% of her class were liberals or mostly anti-gun who had gotten in, seeing how it's going, and started getting into that training and bringing in.
Yeah.
And watching her talk and watching those women flip the switch and go from being very like, oh, I need a gun, but I'm anti-gun, to, oh, wow, this is true. Like you said, call the police. It's 5 to 10 minutes before, if you're lucky, if you're best, to get them there. And they even police officers will say, you'll talk to them and they'll be like, yeah, you should have something. You're coming after the fact. It's not like we're there.
We got the reports to write.
Yeah, we got reports to write. But it's great. Like, that is my big thing, is we need to send out that message that, hey, we are a welcoming community. Mm-hmm. We saw this during COVID. I guess you could say that we saw 40 million new gun owners, or 20 or 30, whatever the number comes to be. We are a welcoming community. We want you to be part of this community. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, as long as you go, yeah, I'm pro-gun.
For sure.
And just bring them in and go, hey, man, come hang out with us. We're cool people.
100%. And honestly, dude, I think if we don't do that, we will just be outnumbered, because the optics it's so easy to make private gun ownership look bad. It's like, oh, you're part of the problem. You're allowing this to happen. Why does anybody need a machine gun? Right? It's like there's all these issues are happening, and it's really easy to convince somebody that the guns are the problem. I was overseas on vacation earlier in the year, and we were in Scotland actually, and playing St. Andrews, and it was amazing. Anyway, but you know, when I wear cowboy boots and jeans, and it's very obvious that I'm an American over there, and I don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm friendly to everybody. I understand that I'm an ambassador to my country and all that stuff. So, you know, but everyone wanted to know. They're like, oh, so, you know, what do you do? And I would tell them a little bit about GoonTape, and, you know, I could kind of see them like a little uncomfortable about it, but, you know, people drinking, and they're like, I want to know more. And so somebody would almost inevitably bring up like the school shootings and stuff like that, which is a serious topic, of course. And it was amazing to me, because I could see like the light bulb go off in people's minds when I would ask them, like, are you aware that the AR-15, which is what they would always bring up, like, no, not Glock Glizzy switches, always the AR-15. And I would say, like, are you aware that the AR-15 was invented like in the late 1950s, early 1960s? And then they could I could see like the gears turning in their heads, where it's like, okay, so, you know, not only were the guns around since then, but I was like, yeah, at that time period, you could order them directly to your house in the mail. There were no background checks. You get them from Sears and all this other stuff. And it was cool to see people realize, like, oh, actually, I've kind of been looking at this in like from a very non-American lens, because in most other places, even the places that guns are legal, there is not that same kind of gun culture that we have here. And I really want to make sure that we are building up this culture and bringing people into the fold, because, dude, like, we will just be outvoted, and they will make another amendment, and the Second Amendment, in my opinion, will be gone if we let that happen. And I don't think we're not about letting that happen, John. No. I mean, come on, you know.
That'll never happen on my watch. Let's go.
Right.